From the moment I decided to escape the grind of college and work for a spring break getaway in Cancun, excitement bubbled within me. Those first 2 sun-soaked days were bliss, a paradise found, where laughter blended with the rhythmic waves. But in the haze of celebration, my judgment wavered, leading me to trust a stranger I met on the beach, a decision that spiraled into nightmare. He seemed kind, with a smile as warm as the Cancun sun. Yet, behind that smile lay a darkness I couldn't have imagined. They targeted women like me, whose families might pay a ransom, and their method was sinisterly simple. A sedative slipped into my drink, and I was lost to a slumber that allowed them to whisk me away to their hideout. The initial days of my captivity were a deceptive calm before the storm. I was treated with a chilling civility, which only deepened the horror of the phone calls made to my parents, demanding a ransom I knew they couldn't afford, $25,000, or the consequences were unthinkable. The terror of those moments, the heartbreak in my parents' voices, is etched into my soul. The calls home, once a desperate grasp at connection, turned into a torturous countdown. With each conversation, the reality that the ransom, a sum so staggering it seemed to mock the very notion of possibility, might not be met became more palpable. My parents' voices, once filled with determined assurance, now carried the weight of unspoken fears, their optimism fraying at the edges as the demands of my captors loomed ever larger. Each failed negotiation, every silence that followed their ultimatums, was a stone added to the burden of dread that I carried. The kidnappers' impatience grew with each passing day, their threats more menacing, their disdain more apparent. The stark reality that I might not be worth the price of my freedom to anyone but those who loved me was a thought too devastating to bear. As days passed without the ransom, the kidnappers' facade of patience crumbled. Their threats became more tangible, more horrifying. The fear of what might come was a constant shadow, chilling my every thought. They stopped feeding me, leaving me with only water to sustain the dread and despair. Then, as they severed a part of me, a piece of my identity, the laughter, cruel and mocking, filled the room as the blade bit into flesh and bone. The pain was an inferno, engulfing me, a physical agony that bore into the very essence of my being. Yet, beneath the searing torment, I ignited and cheered for them to cut more fierce and violent. That way, the pain will subside and be over with. That night, I couldn't sleep. The pain was unimaginable, a physical agony that paled only in comparison to the torment of knowing my family was out there. Feeling powerless now after they were sent the video. I lost hope, but now it's even more real. If they don't receive the ransom the next day, they will cut off 2 more of my fingers. The next day, nerves and uneasiness filled me to the core, shaking, pleading with the men, please no, tears running down my face. The man picks up the phone, looks at me and says, good luck, ring after ring, each ring sending shockwaves through me. Getting closer to no answer filled me of a helplessness and uneasiness I could ever imagine. The rings stop. Laughter from the man fills the room. No one answered. So now, it's time to get real. Anger and rage fill the men. They proceed to hold me down and detach my other pinky and my left and middle finger. This time, more traumatizing and intense, I passed out, only to wake up around an hour later with the man apologizing and saying they didn't need to cut my other fingers off since my parents called back with the ransom during their torture of me. God damn it, I thought. Even in the moment of knowing I'm going to be free. When they released me, the relief was overwhelming, yet bittersweet. Walking into the airport, I was a mix of tears and gratitude, returning to a home that now felt like a distant dream. The ordeal had taken much from me, but it also revealed a strength I never knew I had.